I wanted to thank Eric and the IGEL team for having me here today, and of course thank all of you for being here today. It's really comforting, actually, to be at a Wharton event where one of the three books that you just were introduced to is a novel. I'm a literary historian by training, and so I feel immediately at home. And actually, in the talks that I've heard already, I think you're going to hear echoes in those talks in what I'm going to talk to you about. But it's also a special treat to come to Wharton because in the program in Environmental Humanities, Wharton students have been very involved. And in fact, when we were founded in 2014, two Wharton students, Leah Davidson and Austin Bream, were some of our founding fellows. So thanks really to the Wharton community for all you've done. Now, I started with this slide because I love this guy's hat. Make Earth cool again. And if you just look at the lower corner, you can see my turquoise ring there. And I'm showing you this picture because here I am, standing out of the frame at the conference of the American Geophysical Union, the largest gathering of earth scientists and physical scientists, I think, on the planet, but maybe Irina can clarify that for us. I was there as part of one of the public engagement projects that the program in Environmental Humanities has launched and now is going together with the Union of Concerned Scientists and the National Geographic Foundation, which is called Data Refuge. And it's this example of bringing communities of what we call distant disciplinary pursuits together to talk, to bring fresh perspectives, to think about, in this case, how is it that scientists and various research communities and public communities, civic communities, use federal climate and environmental data for their research purposes, but also to solve and address everyday climate challenges in local communities. So Data Refuge is one of the big interdisciplinary projects we run in the program. Come get a pin from me if you want to do that. But today I'm actually going to focus on one of our other, they're so loud, sorry, I didn't want them to be so loud. One of our other public engagement initiatives, and this is this Rising Waters initiative you have. This is a part of this Schuylkill River Corps. If you're not from Philadelphia, the Schuylkill River is, I guess, that way, not too far away. And what you see here is my co-PI in this project, professor and anthropologist here at Penn, Nikhil Anand. He and I got out on the river and we started to think, what would it take to understand from a variety of academic and community perspectives what was happening on this river. We started thinking about the ways that Philadelphia is just one place where we're dealing with rising waters. Of course, coastal cities around the globe are dealing with this. Nikhil's area of research is in Mumbai. And we started thinking about, is there a way to think together and with our community partners and with a great variety of academic partners about what it would mean to understand the implications of rising waters. One of the things that has been very topsy-turvy about this, we started looking at maps. I love this Surging Seas visualization tool from Climate Central because it really shows you, like on this side of this Mumbai map, you see the scenario for unchecked pollution. Mumbai is historically settled, like Philadelphia, on historic wetlands. These wetlands have been diked, drained, and filled. Today, they are inhabited. If climate change, if carbon cuts are not made, this is the scenario that you'll see. If we humans kind of get our act together, Mumbai, in an extreme carbon cut situation, will remain largely inhabitable. So we thought, well, what's Philadelphia look like under these two extremely uncertain situations? Philadelphia, in a scenario of 4 degrees centigrade rise in climate, in temperature, you see pretty much the airport is underwater. That refinery plant that you saw the Nikhil kayaking in front of is mostly underwater, submerged for most of the time. Then you look at the extreme carbon cuts scenario, much nicer situation. Philadelphia is much nicer. What's striking about both of these maps is that they show, of course, that Mumbai, in a situation of no action, looks a lot like it did in 1700, right? And that is also true for Philadelphia. I picked out, those of you who are Philadelphia history aficionados will immediately recognize William Penn's surveyor's map here at work. If you look, do we have a pointer on this maybe? If you look down here, you can see I've given you the detail, these extreme, this amount of vast historic wetlands at the city's southern tip, today where that refinery and the airport are sited. These, of course, will be largely underwater. Here you see an early version of the refinery. We started to really think about this question of, was history running backwards or was history running forward? And one of the things that we seem to be uncovering in this comparative project is the ways we talk about history, that whether we're going in a progressive way or we're going in a declining, in a declensionist narrative, are no longer holding. The situation is so uncertain we don't even know how to think about the stories we tell. In these extreme, uncertain situations, my colleague Nikhil loves, we talk a lot about this book, Uncertainty on a Himalayan Scale. What would it mean to try to address in an academic way of knowing this extreme uncertainty? We don't know how to tell the stories we're saying. We're not sure of the knowledge communities we need to gather to come together. It's that large. Thompson and Warburton, the authors of this book, really stress, you'll see I've bolded it for you here in the middle, surprising though it may seem, it is aesthetics and not economics or engineering or applied science or systems analysis that has to be accorded the central role in formulating an approach to the problems of the Himalaya. It is writers, painters, and poets who profoundly changed the world. Economists, engineers, scientists, systems analysts, and be it said, international agencies, just tinker with it. This is, of course, a provocation to you from me, as well as from Thompson and Warburton, but it is also lying at the basis of this 3-year project that Nikhil and I have just launched. We'll be teaching 2 seminars. Nikhil is presently teaching this one, Nature, Culture, Environmentalism, Rising Waters. Students in this seminar, as well as this one I will teach in the fall semester, Liquid Histories and Floating Archives, will develop independent research projects as part of this larger community. Nikhil will be teaching in Mumbai at the Tata Institute for Social Sciences. At the same time I'm teaching this class, students there will be Skyping with students here. And then in the winter semester, we will all join together in Mumbai to share research projects, to talk across both locations, but also across disciplinary communities about how we are doing that. One final word on the Schuylkill River and Urban Waters Research Corps, which is how Nikhil and I came to know each other, in fact. We are an informal collective, and we include, as you can see here, faculty from the Academy of Natural Sciences and Drexel. Our community partners are at Bartram's Garden, and of course here at Penn. This summer, for the first time, we will be teaching our first on-water intensive. And part of that on-water intensive is not only to bring together faculty who are stream ecologists, artists, historians, all to co-teach a tight seminar of 18 students, but to do it in floating classrooms, also to performatively say, what are these faculty members? What are these graduate students? What are they? Why are they floating on water? There is an enormous need, we think, for public engagement, and that theatrical performative element, I think, is not to be underestimated. In conclusion, if you want to check us out, please do. Our artists, and we have arts fellows every year, have been making beautiful illustrations of this tidal river, which we knew nothing about really before. We now have self-guided tours. You can get those from me, as well as field guides to plants of the lower Schuylkill River. So check us out, and thanks, Eric.
Thank you.